Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Again, my name is Jag, and today's class we're going to talk about Chemistry 11, and the topic we're going to cover is on single displacement reactions. So with that, let's get started. On the board, I have basically the general equation for single displacement reactions. So right here, it says A plus BC, and the products that are forming is AC plus B, all right? For those of you who are wondering what is up with all these letters, let me just explain it very briefly. How I know that it's a certain reaction is a single displacement reaction is I'm combining an element with a compound. All right, so if we're looking at this general equation, the A and the B are actually representing different metals, okay? What's happening in this reaction is metal A is coming in. It's displacing metal B from the compound. So I'm going to make another arrow here. And if you look on the product side, I notice that element B has been displaced. Okay, so it's by itself now. And there's a new compound formed here, which is compound AC. Okay, so with that, let's take a look at an example. All right, so it makes more sense. So I'm just going to pick an example here from the textbook. So something simple. Let's try magnesium. Okay, plus zinc chloride. And usually your teacher will give you the reaction just like this. I should be able to actually predict what the products are going to be in this single displacement reaction. Okay, so I'm going to take out this arrow so we can all see that. So what's happening here is magnesium is supposed to come in and kick the zinc out, okay? So what you need to ask yourself is whether or not this reaction is going to occur. So there's something called this, it's something called the metal activity series, and I can check in the textbook, okay? All the textbooks actually have this. And what this table shows is how reactive one metal is compared to another, okay? A good thing to remember is the group 1 and group 2 elements, which are metals, they're actually very reactive, okay? So I know that magnesium is in group 2, so I know it's quite reactive, okay? If you look in your textbook in the table, I'll notice that magnesium is at the top of the table, okay? The metal it's trying to displace here is the zinc, okay? The zinc has to be lower in the table in comparison to the magnesium, all right? And when I check the table here, I notice that is the case, so I know the reaction is going to occur, okay? Now, if this was the other way around and zinc was on the outside, okay, and magnesium was on the inside, the reaction would not occur, and on the product side you would simply just write no reaction, okay? So let's take a look at this one, and I know the reaction is occurring, okay? The zinc is getting kicked out of the reaction in this compound, so the zinc is going to be by itself, okay? The new compound that is formed is going to be between magnesium and chlorine. So I'm going to put magnesium and then put Cl, okay, at the end there. And again, make sure you're checking the charges in the periodic table. The charge for magnesium is 2 plus, like that. Okay, and the charge for chlorine is 1 minus. What I'm going to do is just cross these charges over. Okay, the 1 is going to come in between the magnesium and the chlorine. Okay, the 2 from the magnesium goes to the opposite side. So it's going to be like this. Okay, and I'm going to take the 1 out now. So I'm forming MgCl2, which is magnesium chloride. Make sure you're adding the IDE at the end. Okay, I'm going to take the charges out from here. All right. And let's write down the states, okay, for each of the elements and the compounds in this reaction. Writing the states is really important, okay? Teachers will take off marks if you don't do that. Anytime you have a metal by itself, okay, this is a solid. So I'm going to put solid for magnesium. If you look on the product side, zinc is by itself as well. So I'm also going to put solid. Okay, are there any questions? So the metal by itself will always be a solid. If I'm looking at like the compound here, anytime I have chlorine, okay, in my compound, it is going to be AQ, okay? AQ stands for aqueous, and that means that basically the compound is dissolved in solution, and water is the most common solution that is used. Okay, so I'm going to put AQ beside it. All right, and the same thing here. Okay, aqueous also means that the compound dissolves completely and breaks into its ions, whenever you see group 1 and group 2 elements, they are actually very soluble, okay? When they're very soluble, I'm putting AQ, okay, in brackets here. If the compound is not soluble, it would form a solid, okay, or a precipitate. And in that case, just like this, I would put an S in the brackets here. Okay, are there any questions so far? Yeah, so it looks pretty good, okay? Again, I am not done yet, okay? What I should do as a last step is I have to make sure I check to make sure that the equation is balanced, okay? So let's do that. I'm looking at magnesium. I have one magnesium atom on the reactant side. I have one magnesium atom on the product side, all right? I'm gonna look at zinc. There's one zinc atom here, the reactants. I have one zinc atom on the product side, okay? And lastly, if I'm looking at chlorine, okay, there are two chlorine atoms here on the left side of the arrow. I have two chlorine atoms on the right side of the arrow. Does everyone see that? Okay, so this looks like it's already the balanced equation, okay, for this single displacement reaction. However, not all the equations will be balanced, okay? I have to make sure that I am balancing the equations at the very end, okay? Or like the reaction will just be wrong and the teacher is going to take off marks for sure. Alright, so I hope everyone found this video helpful. It just covered single displacement reactions, okay? How to predict the products. So one more time, when you're doing the single displacement reaction, how I know it's a single displacement reaction is that there will be one element, in this case it's magnesium, combined with one compound here, which is zinc chloride, okay? If you look on the product side, I notice I'm also forming one element and one compound, okay? So what the teacher expects you to know is write down that this is basically a single displacement reaction. And we're going to cover basically all the different types of reactions. You should be able to identify each one. So if you did find this video very helpful, make sure you're subscribing to the channel and also click on the like button below. I'm going to bring out more content associated with Chemistry 11 very soon. So make sure you are all watching all of the videos, and I'll see everyone next time. Thanks. Bye.